Hello, and welcome to my presentation on this magnificent piece of art. It is entitled The King's Beavers, and it is an acrylic painting, excuse me, about 7 feet wide and 8 feet tall. And it is by the artist Kent Monkman, who is out of Montreal and is a member of the Cree tribe. And there is a whole lot to unpack on this, so I'm going to try to keep it somewhat brief. But we're going to start off with noting the anthropomorphization of the beavers, which is obviously the big elephant in the room here. And this is actually depicting a real historical period between around like the 1600s and the 1800s, where there was a lot of colonial powers and the American colonists and the European colonial powers were working with the Native Americans to get these beaver pelts and harvest them and sell them back in the colonies in Europe. And this is a depiction of that sort of historical period and action. But Kent Monkman likes to really twist one's expectations of these kinds of scenes, because he noticed that a lot of the colonial artwork or a lot of the artwork depicting the colonial period that he noticed didn't really line up to what he had learned about his own people being a member of the Cree tribe. So he depicts these things in a very strange way. So these beavers are clearly anthropomorphized, and you can see over here you've got a very angry beaver kind of looking like he's ready to fight, so maybe this was a battle gone wrong. You've got this mother beaver kind of looking like she's pleading to somebody maybe for help. These two guys here in the center are attacking these beavers. Really, it looks more like a raid on a village or something like that than a beaver hunt. Obviously, you wouldn't hunt beavers in this way. And over here, you've got two beavers, a mom, I assume a mother and child, and she's actually got a Christian rosary, a Catholic rosary draped around her arm. And then if you look up top, you've got these almost translucent looking beavers rising up to the heavens. So these are also meant to be Christian beavers. So this is kind of sort of meant to flip around your expectations of a scene like this, and it's meant to be absurd. If you're thinking this is one of the most ridiculous paintings ever, it is meant to be. It's meant to be kind of funny and confusing in a way. Obviously, this sort of violence would have normally been carried out on each other of the humans in the scene, especially from the colonists to the indigenous peoples. So Kent Monkman likes to twist up all these different things. And if you look over here to the left, this guy over here, he's kind of mourning what seems to be a dead beaver. It's got a trap on its foot, dead or dying. And this is actually a self-insert of Kent Monkman. And he likes to do that in a lot of his paintings. And I encourage you to take a look at it. And this is probably the destination of these poor beavers is probably the ship in the background. And this is really one of my favorite examples in this painting of just the incredible detail. I mean, the ship is like way off in the background, and it's just beautiful to look at. And I'm not going to zoom in too much of this painting because it's going to look all wacky, but I encourage you to get an image of this painting and really zoom in on it. But the details are just all over the place. This beaver dam in the back, it's also anthropomorphized, where they have right angles and straight lines in their compartments, and it looks almost like a cornucopia. And this here, this guy stabbing this beaver in the background with a spear is actually a pastiche of a statue. And I can look that up. It's by Louis Philippe Hebert, Fisherman with a Spear. And So there's all sorts of stuff going on in this, and this is very reminiscent of a Renaissance style painting. And you've got all this realistic body work, these expressions, this movement. And Kent Monkman really likes to use this Renaissance style to depict some of these colonial artworks in a way that is really, in my opinion, revolutionary. But it's kind of it's in a fun way. And I have a quote from him here that I'd like to break out here. And this is about kind of the sheer ridiculousness of the painting. You almost you're obviously you're meant to feel bad for the beavers, but it's hard not to just laugh at just the sheer absurdity of everything. And that's intentional. He says here, this is from the Montreal Gazette: laughter and humor is a good way to seduce people into the work. Then you can address other more serious issues. I want to have a balance and an element of play. That's actually from Monkman himself. And so this is really meant to be kind of a fun and also dark and brutal piece at the same time. And I really, I can't say enough about how well this is done. And the medium of the painting being acrylic is also really interesting to note, because a lot of these Renaissance paintings, these classical Renaissance paintings, they're done with oils. So this acrylic painting is a lot harder to do. A lot of these like shading and details, all this lighting on the beavers and all this detail on the bodies. And this is actually one of Monkman's earlier works. So his more recent stuff, he does even better. But this reflection on the water, oil paintings, they naturally blend together, and they blend on the canvas. So this amount of detail and expression and lighting and just general color contrast and everything, it's really difficult to pull off well. Oh yeah, and realism especially, really difficult to pull off with acrylic paints. So Monkman does just such a great job in this painting, and it looks like something almost like out of a dark version of Alice in Wonderland. And you've got all these bright colors, these beautiful bright blues over here and greens, and the beavers look really pretty. You got a bright red over here, and a yellow. And this fellow is also holding some traps here. He looks pretty ominous, but the bright colors and everything create this whole contrast between this horrible scene, and obviously the humor and anthropomorphization of the beavers create this crazy contrast in the scene where you don't really know whether to feel sad and horrified or laugh and think it's funny. But this and also, as I said, this is really depicting an actual historical period, and trying to make us think a little bit about it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. I think I've said enough. Thanks for listening, and y'all have a great day.